Okay, so there's three parts to the changes we're looking to make to the fourth. So there's the front section of the green, or the approach, where it drops in very sharply. Obviously there's the rear of the green, where the retaining wall, we're having issues with there, and with both parts of it, there's a safety issue for my team during maintenance, and for golfers themselves during whether they're potentially going to fall over there, or a buggy could drop over there. And the third part of it is changes to the bunkering. So the bunker on the front right is going to stay with some modifications. Back left bunker as it stands, that will go. And we're looking to bring in a new bunker at the rear of the green that will catch any balls that will potentially run off and through into the woods there. So let's have a look at the front section of the green. Obviously, we all know it drops off sharply there, and we've all had a ball perhaps run and catch on the front bank there. Fairly difficult to play from. Also, health and safety, fairly dangerous from my point of view for working around there. We've got rough fairway mowers that are worth 50, 60,000. We don't want to see them dropping off the front there. So if the slope and the taper to the bank that we're looking at here, this is what we're hoping to carry all the way around the front, all the way along the left hand side, so that the entrance into the green will be fairly similar to what we see here. It'll be an easier drop into the green, safer. Key thing for us is we can maintain this with you can see the definition between green, collar, semi and rough. We can do that with our machines. Here we obviously can't put a machine close to this, so we're hoping to mirror this all the way around. Much easier to maintain for us, and much safer, and I would say an easier approach for golfers. So we can visualize how this section will look. The front entry of the bunker will be very low, and essentially the face of the bunker will be at the rear. So the idea is to stop a running ball from traveling through and off into the woods to an impossible or lost situation. A second part of a change to the bunkers is going to be a new type of sand. So if members have played at some other clubs around the region, perhaps Worcester Boughton Park, that they're also transitioning all of their bunkers to a China clay sand. It's a darker sort of grey colour, more coarse sand, specifically for bunkers. So if you've played there, you'll know that whether wet or dry, the bunkers play very nicely, consistently. You know, you can play a correct bunker shot out any time of year. So we've decided to, over the next few years, to transition all bunkers to China clay sand. So we're starting here on the 4th, and hopefully you will see the benefit of that. So on the right hand side of the green here, as we talked about, the slope on the front right there, we're going to continue that all the way around, and that will continue on this side here. That'll mean sort of cutting and filling in some of the areas here where it drops away, and we'll continue that all the way around. And this bunker will go, this will be filled in, and the level will come up fairly high here. It'll match this level here as we bring this down. So this bunker will be replaced by the new larger bunker at the back. So we've moved across to the 7th and the 16th. So the two areas we're looking to address here are, first and foremost, is playability. Second of all is for us to maintain the area in a much more efficient and a way that we can produce a much better playing surface for you. There were a lot of comments this season, in particular with the drought, that this hole played extremely difficult, with balls, coming off the bank here and running off and down below. So we're looking to address that by If we look through where the hoops and the rope are, we've got a very even slope running through there. Perhaps that's about 40 degrees.
Just start from where we want.
So if we look at the slope here where the rope and the hoops are, just before the green, we've got a very even slope running through there. Perhaps that's about 40 degrees. That's what we're looking to bring through, all the way through the approach, through the green and to the back here. We want to mirror that slope all the way through here. We want to take the severity of this away, and this will drop down. If you can visualize, this will drop down to be perhaps about 40 degrees, the same as we see there. That's going to allow us to cut the rough through here. With the rough mower, we can see a transition and cut from the green, collar, semi to rough. We can do all of that with machines. That'll be safer for us. More importantly, that's going to mean your approach shot can land up here and will perhaps run onto the green, or maybe we'll stay up here. But the key is that you'll be on a lie, a slope and a lie, which is semi or cut rough. You can easily play a shot onto the green. So as you can imagine, to bring this area down to the slope that we see in the approach here, that means a lot of material is going to be coming out. So thankfully we have a perfect place to put it, and behind the sleepers on the fourth green, we do need to raise that area up fairly sharply to achieve a drop in the surface and to build a new bunker. So the positive is that all of this material is traveling a very short distance to the back of the fourth, where it will be tracked in and spread there as a base for the new bunker. So we're in the back left corner of 7 here, and we can see a nice little slope here where we can see a nice transition from collar to semi and then up to rough. This is the angle we're hoping to achieve all the way around to the approach on the green. So we can easily play a shot from here, unlike the bank there. I know one of the frustrating elements of playing the 7th is perhaps you would play a shot that we thought was fairly good, and then we would come up and we would arrive here and find it had run across the green and was perhaps sitting in this part here, which is an extremely difficult shot. So we're going to address that by the new bank will start about here, and we're going to slowly come up from there. So a ball will never sit in a lower part. It will hopefully run onto the green.
Personally, I would say it's probably not going to change too much. Certain conditions it may be a little bit more difficult, but other conditions it may be a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think the fourth with the green, rather than sloping slightly up, we're going to have it dropping slightly away and having a large bunker at the back. I think certain times that may prove more difficult to some golfers. Coming to the 7th, I think, in my opinion, this will most definitely be more favourable for golfers.
Yeah, I think it will. It's like having a bailout area, which will probably make this hole. It will make it easier. No, it'll make it more playable.
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment, you can soon have a no score on here because you've lost your ball,
or you're in an impossible position here. Whereas I think if we now, perhaps you play to come off here. Whereas when the banks drop down, perhaps your ball will stay there, but it'll be playable.
Yeah. Just this path now, we're going to prepare this path ready to apply a resin bond coat path. which is like a mulch, and it's got a resin built into the mulch which gets mixed together, which we will put on this path once it's all prepped up. Our idea here that we are going to widen this path, take it more to the right hand side here, and take it straight the way up to the top where the tree is, and that will be the point where you exit the 4th green and come down the path.
So from a logistical point of view, how will we go about the project? So the first part of it is we'll be starting on the 7th, and all the material that we will take from the left hand side of 7 will go in behind the 4th. So from a logistical point of view, how will that happen? We'll have, for about a week, we'll have an excavator and dump truck on site on the left of the 7th, and they'll be making their way in between the 2 greens behind the 8th tee. So we'll have a dump truck crossing in between the 2 greens for about a week. So the left hand path of the 4th we won't be using. We'll be creating a temporary path just through the trees here, and we're going to ask all trolleys and buggies to go down here and down to the 5th tee and the 14th tee through this section here. So all the material will be transferred from the 7th to behind the 4th. We're hoping that will happen before Christmas. In the new year, we will begin work on the 4th, and we've allocated a couple of weeks for this to happen. So we'll begin at the front, and we'll shape the front and around the left and level out the old bunker, and then we'll begin with removing the retaining wall and bringing this back section down and the construction of the bunker.
So while the works are being carried out on the 7th, you will be playing to the temporary green on the 7th for a week, and the left side of the green will become ground under repair once we go back onto the main green, and we'll put in a drop zone for players to be able to drop their ball.
Yeah, so the 4th green, while this happens, again, we'll have to use the temporary green. I think we will use the temporary we have at present. That is fairly close to where we'll be working when we're reshaping the front. But if we're all very responsible, I think we'll be okay.
So costs to do this project, this is now just materials only. We have budgeted for round about £9,000. The sections have offered donations to help towards the cost of the path, which will help towards the cost, but obviously for doing the bunkers, the sand, the extra turf, that's where the additional £6,000 in cost will come.
I think it's important to note, Brian, that the main cost of this project would, in normal circumstances, would be the contractors, having contractors on site, excavators, dump trucks, and the club is very lucky in that we have an arrangement with Brian to exchange the earthworks for the use of the site next to the greenkeeper shed.